The 88 Colorado freedoms, plus 49 natural laws, 137 total, published July 11th, 2021, at least online and printed up July 12th, 2022. Right, yep, today is the 12th. Just to read a couple of the rights and freedoms. These are the rights and freedoms that every Colorado American has. Every Coloradan has the right to equal protection of the laws. Every Coloradan has a right to be free from military rule. Every Coloradan has a right to be free from unreasonable search and seizures. And we, the people, have a right to revolution when it's necessary to our safety and happiness, but not repugnant to the Constitution of the United States. It's Article 2, Section 2. Article 2, Section 2 of Colorado's Constitution says, we got a right to revolution. What else? What other rights do we have? The freedom to have free and open elections, the freedom to religion, the freedom from religion, the freedom from titled nobility, the right to petition, the right to security, the right to property, no ex post facto laws, a whole bunch of shit, the right to be an American citizen, the right to a democratic republic, the right to be informed and present for all the critical stages of the criminal justice system. So those are all part of the 88 freedoms. Now afterwards, like I said, this just, landed on my desk. And it was a damn mess. John Masters is the author of all these, but it was a damn mess. It was a damn mess. He only had 70 freedoms, and the victims' rights are all messed up. Under victims' rights, he had listed as 3 different rights, but he had 9 rights that were listed under the 3. So which is it? Is it 9 freedoms or is it 3 freedoms? And then there's actually 29 victims' rights. So what happened to the other 20 victims' rights? He put them later on. He would just list the victims' rights by themselves, and it wasn't even part of the 88 freedoms because it wasn't part of the Bill of Rights, or at least it didn't look like it was part of the Bill of Rights. But the victims' rights, they are part of the Bill of Rights. It's Article 2, Section 16A. The damn criminals have all these, the accused have all these rights, and the whole damn point for the system is to make sure that the victims get justice. If we don't have a criminal justice system, we just got a legal system, that's some bullshit. Where the fuck do people go to get justice? Justice is the ends and the objective truth is the means. So some other freedoms here, as suggested. Here are 17 natural freedoms as suggested by Colorado laws. The right to food and water. The right to adequate clothing and an allowance. The right to work. The right to be able to stretch out, the right to be understood, the right to a bank account, the right to a safe, healthy, and comfortable environment, the right to be treated with fairness, respect, and dignity. And then there's 33 natural laws, the right to oxygen and air, the freedom of commerce and trade, the right to a 10-point common law, the right to unionize, the right to privacy, the right to govern our own bodies, the right to bodily autonomy, the right to drive, the right to transportation, the right to a job, the right to think, the right to asylum, the right to independence, the right to found a family, the right to motion, the right to live well, the right to be free from crime, i.e. the right to life and the right to security, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Let's get that codified. The right to warmth. Let's get some of these Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. The right to self-defense, the right to medical care. Is that not life? The right to common schools, the freedom to farm, the freedom from arbitrary orders, absolute security of one's home, right of all to the commons, right to arbitrators of our own choosing, freedom from unfair competition, and the right to justice, not revenge, according to the 7th law of nature of Thomas Hobbes. Somebody wrongs you, you want a revenge, but you just want a revenge to the point of justice, not the point of revenge. So you have a right to justice, not a right to revenge. And it says you should have an eye towards the future. In revenges, men look not at the greatness of the evil past, but of the greatness of the good to follow. That's the 7th law of nature by Hobbes. So these damn freedoms are just, thrown on my desk. When they first came to me, they were just a mess, right? Victims' rights are legal constitutional freedoms for all Colorado Americans. So if you're a Colorado American and you're a victim, then you get justice. Here are some of the victims' rights: the right to obtain the incident recording, the right to be informed about restorative justice practices, the right to be informed of financial aid and community services for victims. So those are, important for victims, but everybody in Colorado should know about that. The right to be informed about restorative justice. If you're not doing restorative justice, what kind of justice you doing? Destructive justice. Restorative justice is the only kind of justice there is. And if you're not doing restorative justice, I bet you what you're doing isn't justice at all. So victims' rights is listed in Colorado's Bill of Rights, Article 2, Section 16A. Article 2, Section 16A. And since the victims' rights are listed in Colorado's Bill of Rights, that means all of our victims' rights are constitutionally protected. The right to obtain the incident recording, that's constitutional. The right to be informed about restorative justice practices, constitutional. The right to be informed of the financial aid and community services for victims, that's constitutional. Now, that's the way it used to be. Now, I'm not for sure. Ever since Alonzo Payne and Ricardo Rivera got in there, you have Alonzo Payne, and apparently this is supposed to be a progressive, Bernie Sanders, an endorsed DA. But apparently, the current DA is facing a recall election. We, the people, have a right to recall our politicians that we don't like. We got a right to initiative, referendum, and recall. In the 12th Judicial District, apparently they're on the side of criminals. They don't respect victims' rights at all. Apparently Alonzo Payne and Ricardo Rivera are only on the side of criminals, and they're never on the side of the victims. They're never on the side of the victims. Ever. And that's why they're going to get recalled this year. So it's interesting that these damn lawyers make sure that they protect the rights of criminals, but they don't make sure to protect the rights of victims. And that's a damn shame for the St. Louis Valley. Where are people going to go in order to get justice? When does the presence of justice ever enter into the St. Louis Valley? Because if we don't have the presence of justice, we don't have any society, no culture, no civilization. Without the presence of justice, we don't have anything. We're not free to be free. Security is one of the basic Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. You need food, you need water, you need warmth and shelter, and security. Without security, you just have to be run by the reason why Nazis get away with their shit in Costilla County, the Nazis and Bloods and the gangsters and the damn criminals, because the cops identify and they're scared of these criminals. But lawful people, they're not afraid of lawful people. They're not afraid of lawful people at all. So in Costilla County, in the 12th Judicial District in Colorado, in the San Luis Valley, because our DA is on the side of criminals, victims don't have a chance. And that's bullshit, because you got to take care of the victim first. You take care of the victim first. Maybe the criminal has some shit going on, but you take care of the victim first, and then you see what the hell's going on with the criminal. After we just saw Roe v. Wade get overturned by the Supreme Court, we see that we don't even have a right to privacy. We Americans. But some do. In Montana, you got a right to privacy. In Washington State, you got a right to privacy. So some states have a right to privacy. If you live in Montana or Washington, and we need that. We need a right to privacy. Amy Coney Barrett, she loves Antonin Scalia, and that's great for us. Because Antonin Scalia, he doesn't even know what a natural right is. What are natural freedoms, he says? What are these natural rights you speak of? And he says, basically, he says that he doesn't know what a natural right is because it's up to we, the people, to define what a natural right is. And Antonin Scalia's, Amy's muse. Antonin Scalia's, Amy Coney Barrett's adopted father, basically. So this leaves us an opportunity. They threw out Roe v. Wade, but in America we could pass another 10 Bill of Rights. We could add another 10 freedoms on top of our individual freedoms that we already have. They said in the 9th Amendment that we get all the freedoms unless Even if they don't codify them, we get all those freedoms. But you see, with Roe v. Wade, since privacy wasn't specifically codified, we need to pass a right to privacy, but we already have a right to privacy because it's natural law. Of course we got a right to privacy. Now, you would think with Americans being all about freedom, we went to the Iraq War because, everybody was jealous. 9/11 happened because of our freedoms. We had to go to the Iraq War to defend freedom. So it seems to me that conservatives seem to be for the Second Amendment, liberals are for the First Amendment, but alas, all is not so black and white. Regardless, I like every single one of my freedoms, and all Americans, no matter what state they should be in, they should combine their state's Bill of Rights with the nation's Bill of Rights. All states have a Bill of Rights, and they're all different. So if you live in Montana, you have different freedoms and rights than a person living in Idaho or California. So if you live in California or Florida or Maine, what you got to do is you got to combine your state's Bill of Rights with America's Bill of Rights to know what constitutional legal freedoms you even have. So all 50 states, all the citizens in all 50 states of America can combine their state and federal constitutional legal freedoms. Combine those freedoms. Harmonize those freedoms. The U.S. and the Colorado, they got similar laws, but they're slightly different. So does one stand? Does the other one not stand? You got to harmonize them. You got to combine them and harmonize them and then liberalize them because that's the nature of freedom. When people say you got a right to speak, they're not just saying you got a right to whisper sweetly to the grass. When people say you have a right to petition, they're not just saying every once in a while you can scribble something down on a piece of paper and then just crumble it up in a wad and then just throw it into the damn sewer. No. When you have a right to speak, you got a right to speak and sing and yell to the rooftops. You have a right to speak. So it's liberal. You got a right to speak, not just every once in a while, but most of the time, you have a right to speak. That's a law. We used to have the ACLU that would sue people whenever they would infringe on freedoms, but without the cops being on board with this, or the politicians, the cops only enforce the criminal code. The cops don't enforce the freedoms. What the hell? You tried to just peacefully speak. You had a peaceful assembly. You had a bullhorn. You were off to the side. And some people try to break that up. You weren't, violent. You had no weapons. You were just with a bullhorn. And you were just off to the side. And that pissed somebody off. That person needs to go to jail. That's CRS. You're not allowed to break up a peaceful assembly anyways. But those are the rights. If you're in California, take your state's Bill of Rights and America's, combine them, harmonize them, liberalize them. Those are the extent, those are the limits of your constitutional protections. But they are law, so they are constitutional, and constitutional is basic law. So I don't just want one or two freedoms, right? The right to guns, the right to speak. No, I want all 88 Colorado freedoms. My freedoms aren't there just so I can kind of use them here and there, and maybe we'll use one or two. I want to use all 88 of my freedoms, and I want to use all 88 of my freedoms all the goddamn time. The freedoms are there so I can defend myself, so I can speak up for myself, so I can have peaceful assemblies, and to petition for a redress of grievance. Now, some people might be pissed off about any of this. If you're, are a lawful person, then you would be in favor of expanding your legal freedoms, your legal constitutional freedoms. Most authoritarians, probably all authoritarians, are opposed to your and my freedoms because they just want you to shut the fuck up and sit down. Just obey. Just do as you're told. But they shouldn't be like this. If authoritarians were being smart, you got to have some sort of safety valve. When the people are pissed off, you just want them to resort to crime. You don't want a criminal society. You want a lawful society. So if the people in a democratic republic aren't participating, not alone, they're not being virtuous, right? That's what Montesquieu said. In a democratic republic, if we don't have a virtuous people, in America, we were just pouring out with virtue, right? Without virtue, the democratic republic dies. We have to be virtuous, and we have to choose our leaders who are virtuous. Everybody's political in a democracy. Either you're a citizen or a politician. Either you have the power or you're watching the person with power, with a hawk-like watchful eye, with laser precision. So many authoritarians are opposed to all freedoms, but they shouldn't be, unless they want a criminal society. So let's say authoritarian, they're in charge and they want this and that to happen, but somebody is mad about something because an injustice had happened. As a ruler of a democracy, as a ruler of a democratic republic, I would want my citizens to know about their freedoms, to know about what rights they can do so they can be productive with their anger. It's okay to be mad, just be productive. And how are you going to be productive? You can't go around hurting people. Here's 10 rules, okay? Just because you got freedoms doesn't mean you don't have responsibility. But, hey, Colorado, or anybody who comes to Colorado, you're not allowed to rob, you can't rape, you can't hit, nor can you kill. Don't rob or rape, don't hit or kill, don't abuse, don't kidnap, don't arson, don't torture, don't bear false witness against thy neighbor. Those are 10 CRS laws. Those are already good Colorado laws. Don't do them just because I'm saying them. Don't do them because they're mean, they're immoral. Don't hurt other people, you piece of shit. And don't do those because those are the worst things that one person can do to another person. Now, I'm happy that I wrote up these freedoms because if you're a lawful person, right, okay, those are the things we're not supposed to do. Felonies are your don'ts and freedoms are your do's. So, okay, don't rob or rape, hit or kill, don't abuse, don't kidnap, don't arson, don't torture, don't bear false witness against your neighbors. But what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? Let's assume the government is trying to say you and your working class family don't have a right to vote. Let's say they tell us that we don't have a right to vote. Now, that's them taking away one of our freedoms, but we, either A, can resort to criminality, which I'm against 100%. I'm a lawful person. So what I want you to do, America, Coloradan, read your freedoms and figure out where can you go from there. Where do the laws of Colorado suggest? Where do the spirit of Colorado laws suggest you're supposed to do? They're going to take your right to vote away, then you're going to have to demonstrate and remonstrate. You're going to have to peacefully petition, peacefully assemble. And isn't that what you would rather have? If you're the ruler of society, you don't want a bunch of criminal fucks just robbing and raping, hitting and killing. But if they're protesting, if they're petitioning, if they're using their freedom of speech and they're trying to get people to listen to, that's okay. That's a free society. That's a free society. So it's kind of crazy that in America, I don't know anybody else that's doing this. Ronald Reagan says that we, as a generation, we write out the level of freedoms that each one of our generations have. So just to be an American, like I said, Dave Chappelle had said, in America, if you're black in America, you need to have a PhD in law. So I'm glad that I wrote up these freedoms. And if you're accused of a crime, definitely pick up these freedoms. But my point being is, just because you have freedoms, that doesn't mean that you're like a bad person. If anything, it just means you're an American. And freedom is an indispensable condition for being fully human. So if you don't have freedom, then you're not your own person. You're not your own human being. You don't know who the hell you are. So I went ahead, I got 88 freedoms, 88 Colorado freedoms, and then there's 17 natural rights that are suggested by Colorado law, and then there's 33 natural rights in general. So, for the 49 or 50 extra freedoms on top, the 33 natural rights in general, they come from common sense and historical documents. So common sense, historical documents, of course we have a right to water and food and a right to self-defense. Of course we have these rights. They're rooted in nature, but, the other freedoms, the Second Amendment suggests we have a right to defend ourselves. The right to revolution suggests that we as a nation have a right to defend ourselves. Common sense says we have a right to defend ourselves. But, you didn't write it in the law, fucking Alexander Hamilton, man. The Ninth Amendment says just because we didn't write down your freedom doesn't mean that you gave your freedom up. Yes, it did, motherfucker. We need to write down every one of our freedoms. We need to write them down. Every state needs to combine their state with America's states and then tell the people, here's your list of freedoms. And we need to understand and get comfortable with people having freedoms. You're not allowed to have a freedom that somebody else doesn't have, so whatever freedom you have is what freedoms others have. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. So the 17 natural rights suggested by Colorado law are mainly from Colorado laws preventing animal cruelty and the rights of foster kids. And then the last 33 natural rights are the rights that we have, but they haven't been enumerated yet. I don't want my politicians to just, we can write out our jury instructions. We have a right to write out the jury instructions. They accuse you of a crime. Okay, here's jury instructions. You can use the court system to resolve your disputes. These are what the Freedoms of Colorado says. The Freedoms of Colorado says we have a right to use the court system. So if I call the law and I say, hey, that person killed my dog, and then Danny Sanchez and Soto Cruz and Noble Havens, they want to stick the thumb up their ass. Well, you don't know right from wrong. You don't know right from wrong whatsoever, motherfucker. That's a major fucking crime. I mean, my God, it's one thing just to say, hey, don't go around hurting people, right? Don't murder, don't rape, don't molest, don't go around hurting people. Don't go around hurting people. It's pretty simple. But because you guys been assholes my whole fucking life, I had to get actualized by my nation's laws. So put, your states' rights and American freedoms together. All states have to do this. That's the level of freedom we all have at the bare minimum. So these 88 Colorado freedoms are good law. They hadn't been put together yet until now. But we need to adopt the 50 extra ones. The 17 natural rights suggested by Colorado law, adopt them. The 33 natural rights, we need to adopt them. So that way we have their constitutional and legal law on top of natural law. So if you're accused of a crime in Colorado, you'll definitely want to pick these up. I think they're just good things to know in general anyways. Ronald Reagan said that every generation must declare their own level of freedom. The right of every person to have access to the courts, the right to use courts of justice shall be open to every person, and a speedy remedy afforded for every injury to person, property, or character. Right and justice should be administered without sale, denial, or delay. It's Article 2, Section 6. The right to confront witnesses against you, the right to subpoena witnesses, the right to due process, the right to a speedy and public and impartial jury trial, the right to initiative referendum and recall, the right to have a grand jury indictment for major felony accusations, I think, victims' rights, the right to bail, the right to remain silent, freedom from double jeopardy, the right to habeas corpus, the right to a lawyer, excessive bails, fines, and cruel and unusual punishments are banned. In suits at common law with a controversy over $20, a right of a trial by jury is protected. The right to serve legal papers, the right to home rule, the freedom of the press, the right to peacefully assemble. The rights of contracts is absolute. The right to equal protection during times of peace. The right to keep soldiers from living up in your homes. Freedom from eternal immunities and corporations. Only the treasonous get punished, but not their families. The death of the suicided are treated as a natural death. Landowners have a right to vote on any proposed annexations. The freedom to religion. The right to enjoy and defend liberty. The right to happiness. Men and women have equal rights. The right to have excess taxes returned back to the taxpayers. The liberty of conscience. Abandon on emoluments, the freedom from eminent domain, freedom from Confederates, the right to drink alcohol, the right to a democratic republic, the freedom of state-to-state sea commerce, the freedom from the Secretary of the Treasury abuse, the right to be an American citizen, the freedom from bills of attainder, the right to guns, the right to speak, the right to obtain the incident recording, the right to have a background check of the accuser and witnesses, the right to a strong criminal code, the right to be informed about restorative justice practices, the right to be informed and present for all critical stages of the criminal justice system, the right to be informed of the availability of financial assistance and community services for victims, the right to a democratic republic, The right to a fair and consistent 10-step felony criminal procedure. The right to jury instructions. The right to be tried by a jury of 12. The right to a secure waiting room in court. The right to be informed of when the convict is going to be released or escapes from jail or is pardoned. The right to consult with the prosecution prior to a disposition or a trial. The right to be heard by phone or similar technology when a victim cannot appear in court. The right to be informed of the process for enforcing compliance with the Victim Rights Act. The right to be heard at any court proceeding. The right to an appeal. The right for a list of prospective jurors. Now, those are the 88 Colorado freedoms. The 17 natural freedoms as suggested by Colorado law are as follows. The right to food and water, the right to adequate and healthy food and water, adequate clothing and allowance, that's 3 and 4. The right to work and develop job skills, the right to have stretch out living space. All natural rights are protected by the 9th Amendment. The 9th Amendment says this: the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Then that in Colorado you have rights reserved not disparaged. The enumeration in this Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny, impair, or disparage others retained by the people. So just because they wrote freedom of speech and right to bear arms doesn't mean you don't have a right to water. In fact, if you're thirsty, go get yourself some water. Go get yourself some water, and if they ask who sent you, tell them God sent you. And God says I need water. You're trying to tell me I don't need water because you're trying to kill me? My God, what? Tyler Ratzlaff is pissed off if somebody just takes rainwater, right, off the top of their roof. How much rainwater's on the top of Tyler Ratzlaff's roof? And then who the hell gets the water that falls on my head? Who the hell's supposed to get the water that falls on my rooftop? If it's not for me and my dogs, without, and my family, without water, we all die. Who the hell would tell another person they don't have a right to water? Who the hell would tell another person that? Well, maybe the corporations need to make some money or something. I don't know what the reason would be. Tyler Ratzlaff just assumed there's a good reason for denying people the right to drink. So if he sees a dog drinking out of a water puddle, I wonder if Tyler Ratzlaff gets all pissed off. Just human beings, motherfucker. I asked the question, so clearly there must be a reason why I'm sure he would probably let it go. But you ask him the question, then he's like, well, clearly we should deny people the right to water. Okay, Tyler Ratzlaff, how long are you going to go without the right to water? He's going to, make it illegal for people to collect rainwater? The right to receive medical, dental, vision, and mental health services. The right to be free from intimidation, torment, torture, abuse, and mutilation. The right to a bank account. The right to be understood. The right to a safe, healthy, and comfortable environment. The right to be treated with fairness, respect, and dignity, and the right to confidentiality. So this is a mixture of, Colorado foster kids' rights and animal cruelty laws, and some other stuff. And then the last 33 natural laws. These are common sense. These are obvious. You're going to tell me that I don't have the freedom of commerce? Fuck you. You're going to tell me I don't have the right to breathe oxygen? Fuck you. You're going to tell me I don't have a right to unionize or to a social contract? You're going to try to tell me I don't have the right to govern my own body? You're trying to tell me I don't have bodily autonomy? Fuck you. Fuck you. So these are all natural laws. These are all rights, and I could see these being codified. And like I said, I think that they're good law to begin with, but some people might disagree because they're strict constructionist. But the right to medical care, I got that twice. The right to clothing, right to self-defense, medical care. That's life. That's life. The right to shelter, right to warmth, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, right to live well, right to motion, right to information, the right to the internet, right to a job, right to drive, right to transportation, the right to think, the right to asylum, the right to found a family, the right to independence, swear finally to pursue forever the traitors and enemies of your independence, the right to the rule of law. Article 4 of 1805, Haiti's 1805 Constitution says this: the law is the same to all, whether it punishes or whether it protects. Every stranger inhabiting the territory of Haiti shall be equally with the Haitians subject to the correctional and criminal laws of the country. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Just because you're a stranger doesn't mean that you don't, uphold the laws here. So you got to uphold the laws whether it punishes or whether it protects. The law is the same to everybody. So whether you're powerful or rich, You can't go around raping and robbing and hitting and killing. It doesn't matter if you're powerful and rich. The law says you can't do it. It's also immoral as fuck. Also, freedom from unfair competition. There's 32 freedoms. I was saying 33. Right to justice. Right to arbitrators of our own choosing. Right of everybody to use the commons. Absolute security in one's home. Freedom from arbitrary orders. The freedom to farm and the right to common schools. And that's 88 Colorado freedoms. Actually, 137 Colorado freedoms.